What's going on, guys? Welcome back. This is Joseph with Apache Arms. We get a lot of random questions sometimes about suppressors. So this can be a little bit different type of format of the video. It's just easier to show just the desk, my hands, because we're going to be talking about suppressors. So it is a topic that has kind of permeated a little bit with a lot of the guys that are kind of new. Tax stamps are now no longer a factor of cost. And people kind of want to discover how to get into it, how to choose, how we typically recommend what suppressor to go with, depending on caliber, function, use case, whatever it may be. So we're going to start off kind of like in the realm of like the easy one to get, right? Which is going to be 22 style suppressor. So we have a Q El Camino here, and this is just your run-of-the-mill 22 suppressor. There's going to be a couple of variations of suppressors when it comes to 22. If you want to be a little bit more flexible, do a little bit of everything, there are cans like the El Camino that do exist where they're going to be more for like the 17 HMR, the 22 mags, 5.7, and they're going to be able to withstand those higher pressures, given that the construction of the material for the baffles. So this is using stainless steel baffles on the interior and then a titanium sleeve on the exterior. So this is going to be one of your more flexible options to be able to use more than just a 22. So there are like the Warlock, and I think the Warlock may use stainless steel, but there's one more, I forget the name of it. It's another 22. It's a real, the Sparrow. So the Sparrow, I think, uses a aluminum stack. There are some polymer stack type suppressors, but typically if you're not going to be shooting anything like 5.7, 17 HMR, or any of those like, really crazier, like hotter calibers for a 22, you really want to be using stainless steel. So being aware of what the construction material is for the baffle stack is going to be your main kind of control for whether or not you can use it on calibers that are anything other than 22. So this one here, it's direct thread typically. There are some that use muzzle devices, but yeah, this is direct thread. This is going to be a 1/2 inch by 28, which is nominal for anything 22 cal. It even includes your 5.56. This can is serviceable. You just take this off here, pull the baffle stacks out. You'll see everything. So, this is kind of more or less your full-size 22 can, and then kind of talking on a subject of new cans and 22 stuff, we do have a new brand in-house. It's not our brand, but I'm just saying like in the shop now. So a new brand for us to carry is Silent AF, and very cool. Know the owner, Phil, gotten to talk with him several times, and yeah, he's been able to kind of tell me about his new cans and the company he built and what he's doing it and why he's doing it, and just trying to have some fun. So here is their new can for the 22 segment. This is their Shift 22. So super small, compact, as you can tell. Very different in size, very different in form, function. It's going to be the same thing, suppression. But here, this is a full 3D printed titanium suppressor. They do include a little piece here, see if I can get it to focus. There it is. So this is your muzzle brake. So this will just attach to anything that's going to be 1/2 inch by 28. So again, nominal thread pitch for 22 cal stuff. And this is basically going to be a system where you can use it on everything you run 22 and just thread it. And then essentially this is their new Shift suppressor. So it's supposed to be really quiet. Haven't been able to get out in the field and test it and use it. It's supposed to be really highly competitive for its size, its weight. Like I said, this thing is tiny compared to a standard full size or full length 22 suppressor. So really interested in getting into it. Have a couple of guys that do have them. That's why I kind of got to the company and recommend it highly. Is they're very cool. And something kind of a little bit of nod and a tongue in cheek is you can see there's that little hole. That's right. So you're like, what the hell is that for? There's no vent. So this is actually for a lanyard. So you can put this on your keychain. It's so small and so light. You could use this as a keychain type of charm. So pretty cool. Like I said, very creative company. Really good packaging. Give you a little bit of a patch in here. You get your tool, you get your brake. I do have full-size traditional style cans from them. We'll get to those here in a little bit, but very cool. And just a different way to do it. Like they said, there's a million ways to skin the cat. That is no lie when it comes to suppressors in the market that we live in. So those are kind of your basic suppressors for your 22 stuff. Your options are going to be just mainly looking at what you're shooting, what you plan on to shoot. Is size a factor? Is length a factor? Is weight a factor? Is your overall makeup material you care too much about? But you know, it's going to be dependent too. Like I said, the stainless stuff, this titanium stuff, is going to be good for your 22, your 117s, your magnums, and your 5.7s. So again, completely different way to do it, different mounting styles, devices, but you get the idea. 22 is pretty simple. Then we can kind of get into the pistol stuff. So we have a couple of different pistol suppressors in shop. So here is a BOE, yet another new company for us to have. And then this is their Inco Light. So this is a 9mm suppressor, 3D printed out of Inconel, and this thing is super tiny and lightweight. So they're kind of getting away from, you know, form factor for titanium. This is a bit more flexible. This has a fixed mount. You can take this out. So this is a hub style mount for smaller series of suppressors. It can be removed. You can put a booster. They do have one size smaller. It's called a S. And that allows you to circumvent, that it's so light, I think it's like 4 ounces, to circumvent needing a booster. So these are just direct mount. These are great for PCCs. They will work on certain barrels as long as it's not a tilt barrel. But yeah, this, you probably get away with it on some platforms for 9mm without needing a booster. But something like this would typically require a booster. So when you start to look at pistol cartridge suppression, those are your kind of your spreads. Again, you kind of weigh back right into the same thing. Are you going for a specific pistol? You're going for maximum sound, you know, suppression. And what's interesting about the 9mm category specifically is that it's very flexible towards 300 blackout. So some guys that will try to do one thing with all the cans, or one, you know, try to do all the things with one can. You know, something like this would work for 300 blackout running subsonics. So Inconel can, extremely lightweight, gives you flexible mounting options if you choose to go with a booster, or if you just run it with a fixed mount. You could run this straight onto a 300 blackout and pretty much run it. It's rated for all day fire. It's Inconel. And the material makeup of suppressors matters because we'll get into the 5.56 stuff. But pressure, you know, higher pressure cartridges will generate more heat. 5.56s are pretty spicy. 308s are real spicy. 300 Ultras, 300, you know, PRCs, your 6.5s. So most cans, especially with titanium, you can get away with, you know, 2 or 3 shots. But like a higher rate of fire. So if your fire schedule is much more strenuous, then you tend to go to Inconel, your high temp stainlesses and other materials like that. Stay away from titanium, but we'll talk about that as we get into a titanium can and kind of deviate from that exact conversation. So 9mm cans for your pistols, for your PCCs, also flexible for your 300 blackout stuff, running subsonics. Plenty of mounting options. Just remember your Nielsen device, your booster, your piston, you're going to need all, you know, those are all the same thing when somebody references it to them. You will need them for certain types of platforms if you're shooting pistols with tilt barrels. But yeah, 9mm cans, there's a lot of ways to do it. And those are kind of the things you're looking for, or the kind of questions you answer as you choose and narrow down your options for what exactly you're looking for it to do. So that is the Inco Light from BOE. And then we can kind of get into the, since we're kind of moving into that direction. So let's go look at a titanium suppressor. So this is the new Echo Core. This is a brand new can, relatively about 2-3 months old, maybe a little bit older, but Echo Core. So this is a full size 30 cal can. Again, this is a titanium can at that. This one has a universal mounting system, which is a hub, which is pretty much now the new standard across the board on everything suppressors. So if you don't want to run direct thread plugs to just go straight onto the end of your barrel, you could swap these out for QD mounts, and everybody makes a QD mount, so pick your favorite brand and rock with it. But when we look at 30 cal suppressors, 90% of the people that are shooting 30 cal stuff, at least who we deal with, are going to be hunters. So it kind of plays in favor with, okay, well, you know, I shoot X platform, X barrel length, and X cartridge. Okay, well, let's say that we're shooting a 16-inch 308 and I want something that's going to be comfortable for me to use, not too much weight on the end of my barrel, but I also don't want something super long, or maybe length isn't an issue. So this is a this hits on 2 counts. This is going to be your most quiet, it being a full size, almost into a plus size can. So this actually competes with the Cat Johnny Law, and also competes with the PTR Vent 1. So again, full size cans, maximum suppression, they're all titanium, but where you start to lose on some of this is going to be the length. So that is the trade-off, but it hits 2 things. It hits lightweight, and it hits the maximum sound suppressions. But there's a trade-off to getting 2. So you ever seen those sliders where it's like you can't have fast and quality, right? One has to move versus the other. Same thing that works with suppressors. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So this is going to be for your guys that are using your bolts, guns, even your semi-automatic platforms, because most guys that are shooting like either long action style cartridges or spicier cartridges for hunting, they're not doing rapid succession mag dumps. But if you put like 5, 15, 10 rounds through this thing quickly, and then you're in between your hunting session, it cools down and you go back and use it again, same thing. But where titanium starts to fall short is you want to use this for your 308, but you want to go train with it, right? So you're dumping mag after mag after mag. So titanium becomes extremely vulnerable at higher temps. It starts basically oxidizing. So when you take certain metals to certain temperatures, they become very delicate. They are compromising at that point, and like oxidation will start to set in. You'll start to get cracks. You'll start to get erosion, a higher rate of erosion, pitting. So that's kind of why, like, the trade-off is you stick with the material that matters to what you're doing with it. So this being all full titanium, this is going to suit the guys that are just more into hunting. They want something that's the maximum effectiveness for quiet and weight, but they don't care too much about the barrel length or adding to your barrel length. So most guys that are shooting 16 inches, this is a perfectly good can. You can discharge it, you can run it, you can just do whatever you need to, wherever you want to, and it's going to provide the best you can get for your circumstance. So that's the 30 cal stuff. And then we can kind of move into, that's that can for, like I said, your hunters. Then we can kind of look at something a little bit different. Same idea, right? Like everybody has the same idea when it comes to sound suppression, but there's a different way to do it. So we have another can, line of cans from BOE, and this one here is their Mod 1. So there's their Mod 1 suppressor, Mod 1S. The S is just a shorter version. The Mod 1 is just the full size. This is the full size. So something that's unique here is going to be the way they've designed the suppressor to basically kind of like a future-proof thing. The old way to kind of do one suppressor, multiple calibers, is like the way we had it with Silencer Co. and the 46M, right? So everybody really bought the 46M, and then you're like, oh, it covers everything, and it's modular. We can shorten it, we can lengthen it, we could put boosters on it, we could put QDs on it. But then it kind of like, at the end of the day, was a 45 through hole of the suppressor. You change the end cap to basically designate the caliber, and then you were kind of locked into Silencer Co.'s proprietary mounting systems. So you kind of spent a lot of money chasing mounting systems like boosters, QDs, and then you had to get all of the muzzle devices for your guns for said QD. So you were spending hundreds of dollars after the fact just to be able to swap it between all of your guns. And even then, you didn't have a dedicated suppressor for each caliber. It was a compromised because you only changed the end cap. So something different here is going to be that BOE, universally, the Mod 1, they're all the same. So the only thing that's registered on the Mod 1 is the cylinder, this piece right here. So there's nothing in it. All that's in it is a end cap, but you can take that off. You can swap it. They have a vented cap, and then they have a sealed cap. But essentially what this allows you to do is run a core. So this is a non-registered item. This core here is going to be a 30 cal core, and you basically just swap it in there, and you mount up your mounting device with your hub, and that is it. Now, say that you're kind of shopping around, you're like, man, I really would like to have another can for, 5.56. And this is a titanium core, but I don't want to run my 5.56 through this titanium because I want to train with it. Well, they have other cans or other cores, so you could technically just go buy another core from them. This is not registered, so you can buy an Inconel 5.56 core. Now the through hole through the middle of it, your bore, is dedicated to a 5.56. This is your registered part. It's the same thing. You just put it in here, swap it out, and thread it back in. Put your muzzle device on there. Change the end cap out from a 30 cal to a 5.56, and that's it. Like you're done with that part. So it's interesting because that wasn't an option before, and then that also plays into fact too when you have warranty work, or if they ever design a new core and it's better, right? They made improvements. You can go buy and upgrade a core to the new one, and it still uses the same sleeve. So that's their ethos when they're designing these, is that they want this to basically be the kind of the stopgap for, hey, I want to upgrade, but I don't want to buy another suppressor, register another one, and wait 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, whatever it may be, the wait times. Let's just go ahead and sell a core, and now you can run your same suppressor you've owned that you got a core with. Now you can just swap the core out to whatever you want to do. They offer them in 5.56, 30 cal, and 45. So covers you on all the calibers, and you can also get them in Inconel versus your titanium. So you have all your options there. But again, a different way to do it. There are, like I said, there are options when it comes to suppressors. Some companies are doing it differently than others, but this one here is a really good option, a really good solution, and they're just a really good company thus far dealing with them. So have no complaints on that front. And again, this is going to be a suppressor that's kind of for everybody, because you can use it for hunting, you can use it for training, but then it gives you some ultimate flexibility. So if you're kind of in between and you don't know what you want to do, but you know you might end up changing your mind, or you want to play with other stuff later on, so this is a good solution for those that are just kind of on the fence on buying your first one. You don't know what caliber to get. BOE will, sell you a core. If you need to do warranty work, they will replace the core. You don't have to send back a serialized item. You get everything as you need it, and you kind of just upgrade, and it's easier to maintain and clean, and it's more user friendly because you're not buying multiple attachments to change a suppressor that's a 45 cal to switch it to a caliber that it's not designed for, but it can fit it. So again, you get much more purpose out of this form than you do out of the pre-existing forms that we had. So a nice nod to BOE for giving us an option that is like this. And then we can kind of get into like extreme use case cans or your premium cans, like one of your like PTR. So here we have a PTR. This is either going to be a Vent 2 or a Spiritus. So let's see here what's in. So this is a Vent 2. So this is going to be a comparison for like the 9mm stuff. This is going to be a full-size 9mm can or extended size. So you can see it's much longer than, let's say, the Incolite. So you can see the Incolite is much shorter. They're roughly about the same diameter. Same idea, right? Maximum sound suppression. This is going to be compromising on the maximum sound suppression, but it's capitalizing on materials and length. So reducing that length, giving you a little bit more flexibility with shorter options. But this is going to be kind of like your no bars hold, full diminished returns on length and sound suppression. So this also works for 300 blackout. I don't think that they sell a Nielsen device for these. These are going to be more or less for your PCC, so your fixed barrel carbines. And then this can be applied to pistols, but this is not really a pistol suppressor. So again, there are going to be more ways to do it than just one. It's not everything at face value. Plus, you kind of look at PTR, very nice presentation, really good looking packaging. You got the sticker, and overall, they work extremely well. Another can kind of going into now a specific 5.56, which will be the Spiritus Vent 1, or the Spiritus Vent, they call it. So still a Vent can, but very different. So the difference is that this is a full 3D printed Inconel can, extremely heavy. Still, again, full size 5.56 can. not a K can. And same thing, you get a hub here, so you can swap this out for any QD options in the market. You get their PIP, which is a purposely induced porosity type venting. You also have some vent holes here, so some bypass vents. But overall, this is going to be for the guys that are out there shooting 5.56. And, you know, you're kind of like, hey, I want to do, you know, an FRT build. I want to shoot the hell out of it. I want to go to the range. I want to, you know, basically train with it. I'm going to be dumping 500-600 rounds a day through it. I don't want to worry about heat. This is your can. So thick in all the right places as far as it being built out of Inconel. So it's a full 100% 3D printed Inconel can. Extremely heavy, like, you know, for what we've been looking at here on the table. It's a very heavy can, but it's heavy for a reason. This is going to be the best for hard use case, hard fire schedules, demanding cans, and you're not going to have to worry about anything as far as heat cycling, cooling, and running it too hot. So good option for the 5.56, and it also works great on other semi-automatic platforms if you're doing hunting. If you just want to just, you know, shoot, not worry about anything, this will be the one that lasts you the longest over a titanium can. So coming over back to Silent AF, as you can see here. Again, newer cans to the market. Not a lot of people see them, not a lot of people know about them. But, well, you know, I'm a big person for like packaging, right? I love when a company packages things. They give you a little bit extra. They make you feel like the purchase you made was an investment and it was well worth it. So you step into Silent AF, and again, I mean, they give you patches. Let me go ahead and move this out the way real quick. They give you patches, they give you stickers, they give you an awesome case to carry your suppressor in. They do give you flexible mounting options for direct thread on your main hubs, so they give you those in the box. They do give you a drawstring bag. Paperwork as far as safety, how to use it, rating your caliber for your specific suppressor. And then this one here is going to be, this is a 30 cal. So this is a dedicated 30 cal suppressor. And this is part of their Vigilantes series. They have two main suppressors out there, but as we kind of pick, you know, unpack everything else, you get all their stickers, which again, love it. Another patch here, signifying the model. So the Vigilantes Silent AF. And then you have this beautiful metal placard here. So it kind of tells you everything about it you need to know. And then there's a QR scan here for use. You can kind of look at more information for it. They have suppressor syrup, so for your threads and all that kind of good stuff. This can be disassembled if I'm not mistaken, so they do come apart, and then you do have these beautiful vents. And then you also get a drawstring bag for it to protect it and carry it and do whatever you want with it. But overall, again, kind of the same thing. So 30 cal, if you didn't want something, you know, more specific, or if you're looking at cans and you're like, hey, I want something aesthetically a little bit more pleasing, you know, their cans are very interesting. Not only do they have these deep mill marks or milling, helix milling in here for, you know, two reasons. A, gives you better grip on it, so if you need to take it off anywhere, it does provide extra grip. And it also increases the surface area for the suppressor, and that is key because it helps it for cooling. So Silent AF does work a lot side by side with a lot of hunters, so specifically more like the coyote and the pig hunters. And their cans are designed around that philosophy, hunting with thermals, hunting outdoors, not hunting outdoors, obviously it's outdoors, but like hunting out in the fields and trekking and walking and moving around with it a lot. So again, the suppressor here is kind of like a hybrid makeup of stainless and titanium. So again, you're kind of getting a little bit of a trade-off. You're getting better, you know, heat management materials in the interior, and then you're getting a lighter cylinder or sleeve here on the exterior to help manage that weight and balance it. But again, a good hard use can. Pretty crazy designs. They have multiple colors, and just another way to skin the cat. Again, most of these cans, as all cans are kind of going towards, it's going to be like a flow-through design, so minimum back pressure and reducing the amount of gas going back into your gun, whether that be a gas impingement or a gas piston. So Silent AF Vigilantes, that is another way to get it done. Again, kind of more or less the option of who chooses to shoot. So another one here, we're just kind of covering the general scopes of designs of cans, why companies do it, and some of our favorite cans that are in-house, or not in-house, like not as if we make them, but just general like cans that we tend to kind of gravitate towards or push more customers towards, just based on the use case. So another can from Silent AF. We can kind of look at this one. So again, same thing, full packaging. You get patches, you get a nice specific insert here for your case. You get an additional direct thread plug here, a couple more patches, some stickers, and then again, you get the placard. So FNG New Guy is fucking a new guy day one. So that's their theme and their motto for the suppressor. And once again, as you can see, this suppressor is quite different in design, shape, but same function, right? Maximum suppression. But there is a difference, and the reason why this can is actually designed the way it is A, increases volume, and B, for some guys that actually have this first-hand experience, if you go out to do some hunting, this can, as you mount it flat side like this to your gun, and this overall reduces the visual signature of the suppressor while looking through your scope. So if you've ever had issues where when you look through a scope, or if you do like a super low scope rings, or depending on how you have it set up, if you've ever seen your suppressor hanging off the end of your gun down your scope, this will basically take care of the majority of that. It being flat allows it to be non-obstructive to any type of low-mounted optics. But as you can see too, we also have a highly dimpled textured here. There's another reason why there's a design like this. There's kind of three main reasons, like I just told you. The obstruction, the dimpling is going to help increase surface area for cooling. And as you mount it flat, and if you do hunt with thermals at night, if you've ever noticed a circular suppressor, when you're looking through a thermal, it kind of gives off, you'll see this this hot zoning push. So you'll see a thermal push into your scope, and it's your suppressor when it gets to a pretty hot temperature after shooting several times and you're hunting packs of pigs or coyotes. You'll have a distortion, a thermal distortion push into the bottom of your thermal. For some people, that's a thing. For some people, that isn't. People have never probably experienced it, but for those guys that are out there doing it more, that is a concern, and that is something they see. So with this being flat, this again pulls that that material away from the suppressor, or from the thermal view, and it helps alleviate it. And it being flat, it has a more like a flat tone of thermal dissipation than as a circular object. So the thermal blooming that the hot suppressor will cause is greatly reduced through this design. So again, a little bit creative. This is a high flow through can, so if you're familiar with the low back pressure stuff, let's see if I can get it to focus. There it goes. You can kind of see everything in here. And again, direct thread plug. This is hub compatible, so you can just swap this out and use any type of mounting system you do have. So just kind of a little quick brush up on some suppressors, kind of how we look at them. Some of the creative ones that are in the market, purpose case use, there's a million suppressors to choose from. The biggest questions I think we have to ask ourselves as consumers when we are buying them is, what are we doing with it, right? And what matters most? The money too does matter, but I mean, like, for the most part, we live in a world where things are not cheap, and you get what you pay for in the firearms industry. So your most important ones is, what are you using it for, and ultimately, what do you want it to do, right? So that's the biggest takeaway from, like, I ask people, just figure out what you want to do. Like, are you hunting? Are you shooting it on 308? Are you trying to use multiple calibers? So again, everybody would like to just have one of them because, they do get expensive buying them. But that's the wrong philosophy. I think if you just kind of start from a perspective of, do get what you need, that you use the most, and then work your way up eventually and kind of get more suppressors in your kind of, inventory at home. So that's the way I would do it. Up your collection, figure out, who do you want to support. These are all great companies that we just had up here. Gone through a lot of these with new customers, old customers, reoccurring customers, and just kind of, doing everything as we need to get more people to kind of get educated on picking, on buying, and just making sure you guys are making educational decisions. So that's about it for right now. I do appreciate y'all sticking around and watching this. If you got any more questions, just hit me up. Leave a comment. Let's figure out some more things to look at. If you guys want more specifics, we can get into that. So anyways, appreciate it.